Alright, welcome back to another Play and Explain. I started lagging in the last video, so I stopped recording. But yeah. Sometimes my PC lags while I record, so hopefully in this video I can just be smooth and not make my PC kill itself. I lost my good seat on this guy because I accidentally closed the table by timing out, which is kind of frustrating. Here I believe this hand calls sometimes, but I don't know what one I'm going to fold. Also I think, I'm not going to talk too much about my opponents. Anyway. I am recording, right? Okay, good. Trying to get these videos out is annoying because things are going good and then a bunch of random bullshit happens. It was a winning session as well so far. I think I'm up a good amount, but I don't even know. I'm down in the 1K maybe. I had some pretty interesting hands. Okay. Trying to get through this lag. Anyway, yeah. If you guys are curious about the RNG software I use, like the number here, I put a link in the description for 10% off. I signed up for the affiliate thing yesterday. It's pretty easy to do, so it's not like... But yeah, if you guys want it, it'll be in the description. But yeah, there's only two programs I use really that I'll ever recommend to people. It's the program I use to study poker and the program I use for my RNG. I don't think I really recommend anything else. But yeah, anyway. On a 3 here, I'm opening this a little too often. I think I autopilot open this hand, so on a 3 I'll let it go. I have a tendency to autopilot open these hands a little too much. Probably shouldn't talk about my weaknesses, but usually when you're playing a table, you're playing with one recreational, which can make a lot of these mix opens pretty profitable, so sometimes you don't need to, but yeah. My time bank here was 3 seconds, and I was lagging, and I folded ace-10 on this board, so my opponent check-raised me after checking twice. I really do think I had the best hand, and it's kind of annoying. Probably cost me a couple $100, but I'll size down here because he's shorter. So as usual, the purple tables will be 1K. Usually you won't see it, but the darker blue will be 200 and the green will be 500. On this board texture, I don't mind sizing up to half versus the recreational, but 1/3 also could probably be okay. Do you think range betting is pretty profitable here on the jack high texture? Here 1/3's okay. I don't mind half pot as well. I'll go half pot. Do you think you need to build a bit of a checking range? And here we're gonna raise this hand on this board. Gonna call here. That is just fair. I don't know, I'll do this. I don't know really what the correct line would be here. Gonna fold here. Opponent probably has a jack. We have pretty bad blockers. Gonna call again here versus next. And on the river, I really don't know what to do. I mean, the card is great for me. The 4 is, but... And we have great unblockers. The bluffs. I mean, he has 6-5, 5 deuce, 6-7. Okay, the thing about the river here is I'm trying to think, like, is there any merit in jamming? I'm trying to think the spot. We're obviously going to bluff this spot pure. So that's the thing. So then what does that make him until have to call? I'm going to check it. I'm going to be a little bit of a nit. Wow. I think he's kind of wailing off here. I get on the 9 though. I mean, you probably want to do these hands at a frequency. You can't only take your ace of spades, but... So, like in general, you really don't. I've seen a lot of these... Every time I have like... I don't know about the yap. I think here I might keep betting. This guy might play a little nittier. Might bet it one more time and then check river probably. Versus the recreational. A lot of times versus the recreational, I'm not going to break down a solver analysis. I think it's like so pointless. I mean, your blockers sometimes do matter a little. Like obviously, like if your opponent's ripping a flush and you have the ace of diamonds, that's still gonna matter even if you reverse a fish. But in general, it's not should not be like the first thing on your mind. Say versus the block here, we will call. I mean, we have outs to improve, and he could just be like, you never know. Pretty sure I'm getting owned, but we're almost priced into bank. I mean, there's sometimes he has queen 10 here with the, and we get shit on. Or he has ace jack and we're drawing dead. Don't think we're winning this hand, judging by his time bank. Gonna let it go. Yeah, I'll see if I can get some interesting spots and see if I can keep my analysis solid of the hands. I've been getting a little, I don't know, I'm just a little on edge today. I understand sleep well. Been getting a little frustrated more than usual. Some recreationals on the tables. The tables were really reggy for a minute, and then they kind of stopped. How long have I been playing? I'm curious. Almost 2 hours now. Probably gonna try and record 2 different types of videos today, or 2 different videos today, and line them up. Probably, I would like to, in order to stay consistent posting every day, I need to probably start recording multiple in a day, and then just picking the better ones. Versus a fish, never gonna think about 3-betting something this weird. I might think about it with a hand like Queen 5 suited or something. I'll block bet here versus or range bet versus a fish on both tables. This guy might not even be a fish because he's multi-tabling. I don't know. If I call you a fish and you're playing in this game and I haven't seen you before, I'm sorry. I mean, to be fair, I wish everyone thought I was a fish. I would make more money. So it's not. There's worse things in poker than to be called a fish, unless you're like a coach or something. But if you're not a coach, pretty much can just get away with being a fish. I think you can argue B75 is okay here this deep. I don't mind it. I'll go for it. Maybe, yeah, in position. I mean, you get the pick, so you can go 2 streets and then check back the river if you're really scared. That's the beauty of being in position. You can look stronger than you are. I mean, Jackson 10s here is just a really good hand. And my opponent has queens a little. But blocking Jackson 10s is nice. The 2 overs. I don't mind half pot and then shoving river, depending on the number I roll. B75 probably better, actually. Opponent can't really fold a pair either way, even versus B75. Actually, you can start folding versus B75, but yeah. Jesus Christ. So I'm trying to think like what the best river shoves here are. I mean, obviously we have a shit ton of them. I think we're gonna go with it on a 92. I'm gonna go with it. I don't know the swap perfectly. I mean, I'd like to think blocking Jackson 10s is gonna be a main part of his calling range. I don't really know how many folds our opponent has here on the river is the issue. I mean, he binks 5s and 8s, which just sucks. Yeah. Hoping to get the fold. The good news is if he calls, we can have a losing session. Can finally upload one of those. I don't know if I should have checked back river here. I'm a little focused on the bluff over here, and it does get through. Unfortunately for the viewers who want to see me lose. I gave a bit of a tell on that hand, maybe? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a tell, but this is how I play. I'm always leveling myself. I always think that people might think I intentionally sized the river that way to get a better, I meant the turn that way to get a better river shove to fold ratio, but I generally, yeah, maybe B75 is better. This is such a weird spot, 150 BB deep. I would have a better clue about it. 100 BB deep, where like I kind of know my opponent doesn't have queens. Like, yeah, maybe 10 starts to become a viable fold. So, yeah, that's one of those spots that it's like, I'm gonna run it later. That will be like the first hand I run. you look at blocker theory a lot, the main point is you just have to have some bluffs. I mean, I doubt like the blockers really change it unless you're punting a hand, like maybe, I don't know, maybe like you're griefing your hand, you're over bluffing with a hand that doesn't need to be bluffed, right? Like Jack 10 there basically is no showdown after the flop, so am I bluffing a hand with 0 showdown? Usually not the end of the world, you know what I mean? So some people focus too much on trying to get their blockers right all the time. Also, this isn't a 3-bet, I don't know, I misread my hand. Worked out though. Sometimes I play bad while recording. I'm gonna have to get better at it. I make some mistakes, mainly not in the hands I'm talking about, mainly in the hands I'm not talking about. It's the issue. Yeah. So you're on a 13, we will call. You cannot. Usually most of the time you're calling this hand from these positions. So especially on a 13. I'd say not most of the time. I'd say a decent amount of time. And I will call here. I don't think I see the merit in raising a hand like this. On a 62, I will just do the. I will go for the raise here. It might be a little higher than this you need, but we'll take it. I feel like I'm making some mistakes in this video. That's my intuition tells me. The reopen here just seems like these two queens are pretty bad to have, I imagine. And also this spot is usually, the thing about this spot I will say, when you're bluff catching, the spot might be a little overbluff because it's undervalue bet. Like most people do not go thin enough for value on those turns. They're usually checking back their hands. They think your opponent has a flush. Like if he has ace king, some people don't even value bet ace king on the turn there. So that's why you can, sometimes people will, but they'll find bluffs. I will say though, we blocked some of his main bluffing candidates like ace queen off with the ace of clubs. And we do that at the expense of not having any added equity ourselves. Like obviously, yeah. And also we don't really block value because I don't think for that same reason I just said king queen is a relevant hand. So double blocking the king queen suited. So I really just think we have enough hands. I think you want to have a club to call here almost every time. And if you don't, you want a king. Or maybe like a hand like 9-8 because you're just unblocking all the bluffs and you want some shit. I don't know. You don't really need a hand without a club though because you're not the imposition player. You don't really need a bluff on a club river because they're just shoving into you. So. I will call here versus this guy. It's a weird size. I'll size up here. I think most of the time he's gonna have pairs. He might even have a 7. Gonna call this guy here. Keep his a6 in. Oh, that's a good turn. I wish he still has hands that beat us, but sizing kind of worries me. One thing about this, I mean, I don't think he ever has this beat. I don't mind just clicking him. I mean, the issue is the river card is almost always terrible for us in this type of hand. I don't even mind going all in, to be honest, but I think I'm just gonna go with this little raise here. The river card is almost always bad. Like obviously, yeah, obviously I know I get a clean run out. The thing is, if he has jacks, 10s, any hand with a 6 or a 5, like almost everything kills your action there. And if he has an overpair, he might still just pass. Gonna call here. I really doubt he has a jack. I'm gonna pay attention to his size here. If he pots it, I'm out. If he goes half pot, I'll call him. I don't mind just betting a third here. I don't mind half as well. We'll see if this guy leads. Would be a card you could make sense to lead on. Also makes sense it would be a card he hits. Below pot, I'm gonna call him. It's also a little bit of size down. It just makes, it's like a pretty bluffy line. Hard for him to have a hand that beats me. That is one that does beat me. It's unfortunate. Okay, so he checks and then he B75s. I mean, our hand is too under rep to fold. Even though versus a fish, I really don't like calling this bet most of the time. I'm gonna look him up. He basically needs trips to beat me. So, yeah. depending on how we run in this 1K, it could be a losing session. I hope it's not, but can continue my streak of winning while recording. All right. Let's see a pure 3-bet. Can call sometimes versus the 4-bet. So we checked back here. I should have bet. I misread the action. I also opened because I had a hand that I shouldn't open. I'm just playing like a dumbass. Versus the fish here, I'm just gonna bet on the ace. He folds. Go with the delay here. So the plan here, you can get behind half pot and then check the river back. I also don't mind just checking now and then bluffing and then value betting river. I'll go with the check now. It's a weird spot, as I don't really think he has anything to call us with now. I just don't get what he's calling me with. Like ace high. I mean, it's just jacks. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna check. Such a weird spot. I mean, he could call me with that, to be fair. And I really don't think he's checking a king or a queen or a king. This spot I'm gonna have to look at, and I made some exploitative reads about my opponent, so I probably shouldn't. Maybe on video I should try and play a little more standard, but yeah. The one thing about uploading these videos, it is gonna force me to be better in the sense that all the things I'm doing that make me money, people might catch on to, as I play in a pretty small pool. I'm gonna check it back. I think all the hands that call me beat me. Protecting your equity kind of relevant, but I'm just gonna check fold. I think the fallouting small blind range just beats threes here. Call me a dumbass, I don't know. Versus this, because this guy is opening super wide, and this guy's a fish, and we're super deep. I'm gonna call here for the video. Probably should play more correct on the video, but I don't know. I haven't done this in forever. I just think that like super deep versus this fish, he can make some mistakes deeper. But then again, our hand doesn't play the greatest deep. As like we can get flush over flush and like a lot of things. So we led here. Turn comes a 6. I don't mind it. It's a good card for us. The king's also nice in the sense if he hasn't overpaired, the king is usually pretty solid. Folded a lot of just other king I said he would have floated. Okay, here's the thing is if we check this, we almost never call, so. But I also think the odds that someone has an ace is pretty high, so I'm not gonna bother. Should have probably looked at the number here for the video. I feel like I'm playing a little sloppy. But this is my like 2 hours into my session, I usually start to play a little worse. And it's like my 3rd time recording where I just lag out or something bad happens. So I'm a little out of the recording, trying to still give tips. I guess I can call here. I can also make an argument for raising. I do rep a raise really well. I guess I will raise. I mean, I do rep. Like if I had 8-6 or deuces, I would play it the exact same. I would always check on the ace because he's gonna reopen a lot. And then I raise him, so. I also do think this line is kind of weak by him. I am just going to give up, unfortunately. If he calls, it could maybe be profitable, but then I'm like, what does he block calling? I'm just in this weird leveling where I don't really feel like bluffing a fish this deep. But also I have the upside of if he has a good hand and I hit a 7, I can stack him better this way. Unfortunately. He probably just has a weaker ace. Or we're not going to find out what he has. Could bluff this hand. I don't mind the follow through. Some people get really nitty deeper. But the tank call just throws me off. I'm going to go half pot here because I can call off pretty easily. I just don't think he's 3-betting enough weaker ace-x to fold, and I don't think he's folding the stronger ones. When he called, I kind of just assumed he has an ace. And trying to get a fish off an ace there is just not something I'm gonna bother doing. I'd say you can bluff fish really easily because they're really face up when they have middling hands, but once you know for a fact they have a really strong one, I don't think it's really worth your time trying to get them to fold it. I don't mind the raise here because in the sense that I think it's profitable because in the sense if he has a strong hand, we get to CR7. And potentially get a big win, and then also when he blocks bets, I think he has a lot of folds there that he's just stabbing. Gonna call here. Low pocket pairs are like one of the few hands that go up in equity when there's multiple players in the pot. Most of the other ones go down. Gonna call here once with the backdoor diamond. I don't mind folding it as well. I'm just gonna overbet here. It just looks strong. And I think his checkback's pretty capped. The best he has a queen. And yeah. That's a terrible turn. Gonna be almost checking range on this turn in general, so. Yeah, we always have a very good hand, but the issue is it's just, yeah, there's a lot of hands that beat us, and I don't think he's bluffing too often. I expect to win the hand a decent amount of the time, if that makes sense. I just don't expect to win when he bets. Because sometimes you just have to look at how many value combos there are and how many bluffs potentially your opponent could have. And what I like to say is if you think your opponent's on the nittier side, if you think your opponent's nittier and he's not going to be bluffing a lot, if he's repping like a very thin range, there's a chance that, okay, like he only needs to be bluffing, let's say he's bluffing like 5 hands. Okay, he only needs to be bluffing like once or twice for me to properly call him. And maybe you can find like 1 or 2 bluffs. But if he has like a billion value hands, like ace-jack looks strong on this board, right? But if he has all his flushes, all his 10-9, all the 7x, right, that he has, what actually adds up to a lot of hands. So he's going to need to find a shit ton of bluffs. And usually, like, some of these people who are nittier, like, they can be in a mood where they just don't bluff at all. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I advise being a little tighter in spots where your opponent just has a shit ton of value, because they need to be bluffing a lot for it to make you to get you to start bluff catching them. When in reality, I'd say this guy, I think I'm just gonna call here. You can even size lower than this. I hope I said that right. But yeah, I would say like in general, if you're playing versus a nittier player, you don't need to bluff catch them if they have a shit ton of value. Like the combo's like totaling like 20. It's like, okay, well then they're gonna need like 8 bluffs or some shit. I'll call here just because he sizes so small and we're in position. Also, this guy's like playing very weird. I think he has this. I think we're probably beat here, but I'm trying to evaluate here if we called this guy or not. I mean, he's been 3-betting us a shit ton. We don't really beat value now because all the hands that potentially beat are also on the board, so there would be 2 pair. If we call here, we're gonna have to call river. I kind of want to let it go. But I'm not going to. I'll fold river here. He checks, I check. Sick. I don't know, I'm just a nit. Okay, he checks. I don't mind the block here versus the fish. I mean, we kind of protect ourselves. If the range is mainly ace king, we kind of want him to hit a king, so I'll just check here. It's a pretty good river. If he shoves, I probably fold. If he doesn't, I probably value bet myself. Because I think he can call ace king. Snap, I feel like I'm beat. Oh, that's a terrible river for me, jeez. Gonna just call here when he sizes down. So there's a jacks and queen jack already. He's running a good amount, so. The block bet again. I'm gonna raise him. I feel like he just. Actually, there's no point though. We'll just call and then bluff river. If he blocks again, I'm going all in. He checks. I'm gonna go all in either way. I don't think he plays a hand like this. So yeah. That's my read. I would say generally when fish block, they're very weak. There's a chance, oh, he's trapping me, but it's like, okay, that's like very rare, and yeah. This hand does 3-bet sometimes. It calls a 4-bet when it does though. And it's about like 10% to 15 to 20% of the time. I don't know what I'm yapping about. I don't mind just playing the overbet here. I mean, this combo, I'm just going to take pure. The open and the straight flush draw is just a little too pretty for me. So now all the queen jack I bet on the flop gets there. The risk of getting shoved on is kind of annoying, but I think in general we rip queen jack really well. I'm just going to take it now. If I have a hand like king jack, I might slow down now. I hit a king. Could probably just simplify to half pot. I do think he hits the king a good amount though with some of his floats, like king queen. So a lot of our value hands still want to polarize, I think. Maybe when the straight comes in you could size down, but I don't mind. The double overbet line there. It's kind of risky with the flush draw because getting jammed on sucks. I was thinking if I call off or not. The issue is a lot of his jamming range is already a maybe straight. So our straight outs kind of suck. But yeah. With the fish here, I'm tempted, but I'll just fold it. Again, not 3-betting this in position. I'm gonna fold here. I feel like I played pretty poorly in this video, but I'll still try and provide you guys value. I still think, like, even though, how do I say this? You're welcome to run any hand I play that you think I might have played poorly, because I make a bunch of mistakes throughout the course of these videos when I rewatch them. So yeah, I would say, especially with the lag on and I'm recording, I think I misplay a lot of these single raise pots. So I'd say in general, as just a general rule of thumb in poker, never assume someone's right because they played a hand a certain way. Just really think about it yourself and look for an explanation. That includes me, of course. I like to. Sorry, my my headset died there. Keep running into problems recording these videos, so I'm still uploading this one. No, I had the little. When he checks, I just think he never has an ace. But I'll just check. I'll be a little pussy. He could be scared of the flush. I don't know. Oh, my headset always bugs out when my yeah. Kind of broke my wireless headset, so it doesn't really charge properly. So yeah. Gonna be wrapping up the video. Probably make this one around 30 minutes. And then I can get the review in. I feel like that's like a good amount of time. The last one went a little too long for my liking. But yeah, hopefully there was some good stuff to talk about in these videos. Hopefully there's some interesting spots. I mean, I feel like I have a lot more knowledge I can share with you guys. So hopefully I can get to that in the next video. I can see some more of these spots come up. There's some boards I haven't been able to talk about as much. Multi-way here, you can definitely make a case for this being not profitable. And I'm just a little degen. When I see a fish play the hand, I overcall, and it's probably not profitable, to be honest. I'm just a bit of a degenerate. But yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this video, but yeah, I got the affiliate link for my my HUD I use. This is just, yeah, for my layout HUD for my RNG. I like to have an RNG on each table. It makes it easier because sometimes I forget to roll when I don't have the when I use the Google one. It's just too much effort for me. I think when the ace comes, we're gonna check and play like a delayed really big check raise here. I don't really expect this guy to be capped at one pair, and I don't expect him to call me down. I could be wrong, but. Especially with that little timing tell, I feel like I go for like a reverse timing tell here. By taking a lot on this turn, like delayed and then checking, it really looks like a nutted hand. This guy's a little worrying me, but I don't really see what he has. I think here you can size up. I mean, you both have king 10. Actually, you both have ace queen, ace jack. I don't mind. I'll go with the 1/3 here. I have to look at this board. I'm a little rusty on my early position. When he just calls, though, you can definitely start being a little more aggressive here. So I'll go with this. On a 61, this guy's just a little too nitty for me to defend this hand. On the river here, I think I'm gonna go all in. Don't expect him to call too often, but I think that's the correct size to go on the river. I should just fold, I don't know. My brain's lagging. I'm thinking about the video and everything. And the hand I just played. I promise at some point I will be more solid in these videos, but yeah. At least when I make a mistake, I tell you guys. I'm not here to tell you guys I'm the best poker player of all time, but yeah. On an 84, we're gonna defend the pocket fours here. First the squeeze, just gonna let it go now. On a 99, definitely will be 3-betting this. Kind of really regretting tanking in this hand. I don't like range betting. I'll size up to a bigger bet here. You roll the higher number. The diamond's good. The over's good. The 10 of diamonds is good. So I like the cards I have in my hand. When he checks, and the 5 is a pretty bad card for me in general, I think. So I'm going to be checking a lot and just losing this hand. Okay, there's like a billion bluffs here, so I don't mind going 175. We both have ace jack, but yeah. Freaking hell, this is when my PC starts lagging and I start making mistakes. This is kind of what happened in the last video. Jack 8, I'll just call here when this is the thing. Check here. Yeah, the jack's a pretty good card for me, so. Here, I think you want to just play like almost overbet or check. I mean, you just have so little value hands you want to bet. So yeah. Alright, gonna be wrapping up the video in a second here. Stay tuned because I will be reviewing some of the hands from today. So, yeah. Almost all your sets want to fast play here when you see bets. I don't like the 1/3 size from him. I think you can play a bigger size. I don't really see the merit in playing 1/3. Like, just thinking about the types of hands you want to bet. I mean, you just don't have enough actual value hands to bet, and I don't think it's a board you really like value betting ace high that much. I mean, you can maybe make a case for it. So when you raise, we could actually do like a little fuck you raise. In general, I think when you raise on this board, you want to be a little more. Actually, you don't need to be that polar. I mean, I can versus a 1/3 bet. I actually think I want to raise a lot of my pairs here to protect myself versus these overs, because if he's betting range, I want to be able to fold out a lot of these hands, and the 7's a good card for me. So I'm gonna be over betting now. You never should have 8-6 suited, I think, or 6-4. So it's just a great card for me to attack him. I'm gonna go to like 30 bigs here. Yeah. Wow, the 8 was not that good for me. I think the jack of diamonds, for what it's worth, is nah. It's nice that the jack you have is a diamond, I will say, because he's probably less likely to be bluffing that on the river than if it was a jack of something else. But I do think of the check line, it's not as relevant. To be fair, I do think his line's under bluffed. I think when people check flop and they're not really repping anything, they usually have something. It's like kind of like a little Uno reverse. Huh. Could maybe lead into a mirror. I don't mind it with 4s with the club. It's not at the small blind because there's a fish, so. Here the issue with overbetting this exact hand is it's just like, why? Like, he could, but why? I mean, it's technically his 2-out's still a pretty good hand. He doesn't really have a 6 too often, but I think he'd rather have a jack or a 10. I think I just check and lose. I don't know. I don't like the hand I have. I don't like the line I took. I could see like playing like just a B75 strategy with 2 pair now. And some slow played 6x, but yeah. Maybe even an overbet. When he checks back, he almost never has a 6, so can definitely start overbetting sets. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the video. I'm gonna go over these hands for you guys, and see how bad I played today. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned. Alright, starting off with the Jack 10 board, where it was 8-4-4 board paired. I decided not to AI sim this hand. I mean, so we're gonna split. I stuck with just B75 only on the flop. I don't think it's going to change things too much. Opponent's supposed to be playing a raising range here. I think in theory you're not really getting raised here when you play b75. But yeah. Turn, opponent also plays leaves, which does make sense because if you look at the range here, the cutoff's going to be way more mated to just pairs. Like they're going to have a significant, like obviously like they're going to have all the, they can't really call anything that's bad now. In the sense like the worst hand they're going to have is like a king jack suited backdoor or an ace high. Like I mean it's they're almost their entire range is filled with pairs, so it does make sense for them to charge a lot of your middling strength hands. But anyway, it's not like it's like a range lead, but I do think the lead is pretty okay. Unless you have a certain read on your opponent that maybe they're over bluffing and they won't bluff if you lead. But generally versus the nittier players in the pool, I don't actually mind just leading pure. Yeah. Anyway, turn, I was right. I was supposed to b75 when I half potted. Just like a thing generally in position when you're deeper, you're gonna be sizing up more on these turn cards. Deeper stacked. Don't know what my opponent had in this hand, of course. And then river, check, obviously. And my hand is a pure jam, the jack 10. Even ace jack. It seems like you really, when you look at the blocker properties, the cards that you want to go all in with is a jack. Is a pretty good card. Blocking your opponent's hand. If he has a little more jacks, the jacks is like his main pure call, obviously. And then obviously not having these, the king or the queen blocks the ace queen folds. You could say people in your pool might not damn, I'm talking really bad. Might not have ace queen or ace king here. They might be a little nittier on the turn, but in general, I think Jack 10's going to be a pretty good candidate to just blast off here. I think in general, this spot doesn't really come down as much to blockers as it does to just your read on your opponent, in the sense of most people don't play these certain rare spots very well. It's deeper. It's a triple paired board. There's trips on the board. It's a low board, so it's basically like I have all the nuts, he has none of it, and it just comes down to, do you think your opponent's going to bluff catch you pure? Do you think they're going to bluff catch you like not at all? Because then if they're not bluff catching you, I mean, you can't even lose that much EV for going all in. Like look, what's the worst bluff you could have here? Like let's try and find it. Like I mean, king 9, because like his 9s is obviously going to be one of his main folds, I think. So it's like, sure, but like what if 9s is his pure call? Then you love having 9s. So I think in general here it's just up to you to figure out what's it called? What people in your pool are doing. But in general, I would advise stick to the correct strategy. Go with your blockers. Be able to deduct what's better, what's not. What are the type of cards you want to have? Because then you figure it out for yourself. But don't be, if let's say you're jamming Jack 10 here on the river and they're snapping you off, or let's say they're never calling. Every time you jam Jack 10 in this spot, they're never calling you in a similar type of spot. Then just jam the King Queen as well. Just jam everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my advice on the spot. I don't think you need to become one of these people. They never call, they never fold. Let's say stuff like that's very node specific. There's nodes that are very overstationed. There's nodes that are very overfolded. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting, but yeah, gonna end the recording here now. Not the recording, but on to the next hand. All right. Well, this is definitely my probably worst played hand of the session, which is the hand I had King's Blind versus Blind. But I made a lot of mistakes in this video. I think I'm gonna make sure to look in the description. I'm going to point out a lot of other minor mistakes I made, such as the hand I had queens where I completely misread. I thought my opponent was, I didn't think my opponent was in the small blind, but I was completely just getting the pre-flop backwards where I didn't 4-bet him. But yeah, maybe I won't put it in the description. Maybe I'll just briefly go over some stuff at the end of the video that I also did. That's kind of bad. Like for example, the queen's hand. I don't know what I was yapping about. Anyway. Here, I simplified my strategy to half pot. I thought half pot would be a fine strategy on this board. It looks like it prefers 1/3, the little 75 in there. I don't know. I think half pot's also okay. But the main issue is just not betting the turn, clearly. I mean, yeah, king's pure betting. And then on this river here, which is a weird node, I think a lot of times his hands get counterfeit, these undercards. And we can easily value bet ace high for half pot almost at a frequency. Because you just have to start calling some of these king high hands and stuff like this. And yeah, his hand would have been a pure call. It would have lost like $1 billion to fold. So definitely missed a lot of values by playing kings this way. It looks like kings doesn't lose too much money by checking, but I just lost like a bunch of EV. To be fair, it's a weirder node, and I had some reads on my opponent to justify why I played things a little differently, but still nonetheless, Missing this turn barrel is pretty terrible, to be honest. I mean, the board's so wide, the ranges are so wide, a queen is just not a big enough part. If he jams, you're calling. I didn't really like the idea of having to call off a jam here in the spot versus this guy, but maybe, yeah. Anyway, figured I'd add that. Alright, I've been going through this video and it seems like there's not too many good hands to review. So I'm gonna go with this one last. What's it called? There's a lot of like minor mistakes I made in this video. I'm gonna try and be better in the next. I'm just trying to post every day. So right now I'm a little rusty as I took like 10 days off almost. So for New Year's, and Christmas. So I'm getting back into it. So there's just a lot of minor mistakes, and also I'm just a little rusty in terms of like some of these nodes. Anyway, so I took out a checking range here because it was like 95% c-betting. So I decided like I'm range betting this board. I don't really build checks there. And yeah. Anyway, it's here you're supposed to see like your opponent. You are supposed to build a raising range here. I mean, you have a straight advantage as the big blind. He has the other hands, but that still means you should be building a polar raise strategy around it. Figure out that's like important to know. And also you have all the ace queen and all the ace jack in the world. So by no means are you getting killed on this board. Especially when your opponent's rage betting into you. You want to be raising up. You want to have a raising strategy on a board where you're not like super capped. Anyway, here on the turn, I know logged with the 150. It does play a little more with the 125 here. It prefers. So yeah, I was checking what it does out of the 75 sizing, and it still goes for the all-in on the river with the king 10, and it even goes thinner for value. Obviously jamming some of these hands like pocket 10s, and yeah. Yeah, also misplayed a lot of hands in this video. The deuces hand, not supposed to range bet, I'm not supposed to see bet turn on the 4 pairs. Just a lot of certain hands I misplayed. But it seemed to work out for the better. Also a lot of hands versus fish in the video after rewatching it. But yeah, hopefully I can get some more reg battles for you guys. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.